Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today? Tammy Davis here. If you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by and checking this out. If you've been with me for a while, please know how much I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. I wanted to talk today about oils. I actually have some oil suggestions for you, but we'll get to that here in a bit. Um, I want to start off by really talking about adverse reactions. Talked about it before, but I wanted to say more about this, and because I feel like it's a very important thing, as well as clarify what it is when I say stress relief. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and nobody's looking for stress relief, and I think it's because a lot of us think that we're doing what we can, and when you look at the trends, maybe I should talk about football. um, I could channel my father. We could talk about football. Um, Although when he watched football, it didn't look very relaxing. At any rate, so when I talk about stress relief and I talk about stress mechanism, it's really relieving the stress at the cellular level. Okay, it's not about just taking a break from it all, kicking in front of a video, going for a hike. I mean, those are all great things. Don't get me wrong. It's what we can do to facilitate the relief at the cellular level. And although we don't necessarily understand the significance of this, this is exactly what I'm wanting to teach. Not kind of. This is exactly what I'm teaching, and looking to teach more of. This is where oils come in, because it's important not just for us. It's important to create a different trend for our children. The last thing I would want anybody to do, it would be to be sucker punched with an illness that would devastate their family and their kids. Again, I can't prevent anything 100%, but if I can at least put information out there that would facilitate a difference, a different direction, if you will, then my job is done. Then I feel satisfied. So that's when I talk about stress. And again, I know it's not anything we really want to listen to, and I also realize that our minds are inundated with information, not to mention the fact that these are intense times, so chilling out is really what we want to do. So, yet, there's a value to this. Again, not just for you, but for the children in your life, whether they are your children or your grandchildren. The direction of their future health is not pretty. It's rather grim. Just because of the level of degeneration. That said, degenerative illness is not passed on from family member to family. It doesn't. When we talk about running in the family, it's not because it's an inherited disease. It's because we've taught them how to think and react. So beliefs and behaviors are what we pass on from generation to generation. And these are very difficult to unlearn, and it just takes time. And again, this is another reason why the oils actually come in. So that is really what it comes down to when it comes to the stress relief. That said, 65% of the population currently takes at least one medication on an ongoing basis. And one of my biggest concerns is drug injury. Because if we're going to be mixing natural, because here's the deal, the more we seek to control, the more there is to control. And this is the trend of medicine. It's my word today, apparently, trend. This is what medicine is doing. It's seeking to control a situation whereby restorative work actually empowers the body for a rather cliche word. It supports the body's ability to restore wellness. It supports the body's ability to stabilize itself. It supports the body's ability to neutralize the inflammation and begin to produce anti-inflammatory chemicals, because that's what the body is designed to do. It produces both pro-inflammatory as well as anti-inflammatory. So that's what restorative work actually does. Yeah, there's symptom relief in it, absolutely. But at the same time, it's working in sync with the body. It's actually giving the body what it's needing as opposed to what we think it needs. So, the more we go to control something, with, say, medications, that's added stress to the body. Again, really emphasizing the fact that cellular relief is imperative. Therefore, when we combine these things, and I'm really speaking to people who work with oils on people, like massage therapists. If you are someone who takes a medication and you like oils, well, this one's a good one for you too, because I'm going to make some kind of generalized suggestions here that would go with any medication, not necessarily for the symptoms that you're dealing with, but at least it would begin to help round out and begin to stabilize the system to a degree. So as I've said a couple times now, drug injury is a big deal to me because when you pair oils and medications, because somebody said to me, again, this person I was talking to was like, well, it'd be great if there's ways you can reverse this health condition and that health condition, and there's no need for these medications. Well, that's it. Okay, we can think like that. Yet the fact is that we are on these medications, and in order to support and enhance systemic function, we have to come at this from a different angle, meaning we don't want to repeat or duplicate the mechanism of action, and we want to pay attention to the constituents or know what's in our bottles. I'm actually going to do a newsletter this for the month of October that I'm going to just begin to share the number of oils that are out there, meaning like there's like 4 or 5 different types of geraniums. There's 9 different types of thyme. I mean, we have an extraordinary number of oils at our disposal. We don't really know what we're getting, and the sad thing is, you guys, not sad. Yeah, it's sad because we're being fooled. Take geranium, for instance. Okay, although the botanical name is the same depending on which one you get, whether it's Chinese, Egyptian, and so on, the chemistry changes. And that's what's necessary to know. Not just the botanical name. That used to be an indicator, like, well, make sure that it has the botanical name on the bottle. No, that doesn't really give you much of a clue, because you could have, like I said, and I mean, the same thing can be said for basil. Basil's another one that has similar botanical names, but boy, are they different chemically. So, like I said, that's going to be my newsletter for next month. But in the meantime, knowing what's in your bottle is necessary because of the constituents. And they either interact with medications at the CYP450 enzymes, or they will bind to serum albumin, which is a primary protein for moving things through the system, eliminating toxins from the body. And so it means that they will, and this is how the body will actually eliminate metabolites from medications. But if you've got plant constituents blocking that ability, now you have higher levels of the medication in the system. So those are 2 different ways that we could potentially create an adverse reaction. And this is why, I get it that people who've gone through massage therapy training and they've been taught about oils and oftentimes represent companies, this is only the basis. I mean, this is just the crux of where we're at, and aromagenomics is what builds on that. We're in a time where this is important to know how to mix these, because even if they come in from, some people go, oh, it's just a massage, it's not a big deal. Well, that may be true while they're on the table. And here's a couple of things. Lemongrass and citrus oils are popular for using. So is lavender. We don't want to go into lavender right now. If you haven't seen me talk about lavender, ask me about it privately. It's not one I recommend, and again, it's because of that the high level of adulteration, um, and it also can create. It will also impact the CYP450 enzymes. If you've got people who are taking any sort of anti psychiatric medication, or yeah, it's potentially a huge issue. Anyway, so lemongrass and citrus are are common, and the thing is that the citrus oils actually contain a constituent, in this case limonene, which actually binds to serum albumin. Okay, it's magnificent for many things, but that actually interferes with the body's ability to clear antidepressants. Lemongrass, on the other hand, doesn't have that in it, except for the fact that it does. It's the CYP452b6 enzyme specifically that is used to metabolize SSRIs. Therefore, lemongrass is not a good choice for people taking antidepressants. Now, again, we're going to say, well, we're not seeing any problems on the table. That may be the case. So here's the deal with adverse reactions. They do not necessarily happen immediately. It could be a couple of hours later. You could have any number of, but the two specific ones I'm going to say are, you have an additive type effect, which will like really drop them, make them really tired, and they'll just think, oh wow, that was just a great massage, and I'm just detoxing, and that's an adverse reaction, because citrus doesn't make you sleepy. The other thing that can happen is it could have the reverse reaction, and then they go home or they go on to the rest of their day and they feel increasingly anxious, but they don't know why. Nothing's really going on. They're just feeling very agitated. That would be another type of, anything that could happen later on in the afternoon could very well directly result from the oils that are being used and during a massage. So yesterday I started making recommendations for oils that would be good to have on hand, that would be safe for basically most people. Give them a pleasant, aromatic massage, and at the same time not create a lot of stress at the cellular level, because that's what will happen if you get an adverse reaction. It's causing stress at the cellular level, and now the body is trying to rectify what was done. Oh, pardon me, my ear is itchy. So that is why it's really important to begin to just really understand what's in your bottle. So the oils that I recommended yesterday was an Egyptian geranium and a sandalwood Mysore, Roman chamomile, and black spruce. Now the reason for that is these actually help diminish the stress, help appropriate the stress hormone estrogen. I said that right. You heard what I said. Estrogen is an actual stress hormone, and when a stress response has been activated, it's acting like a stress hormone, not a reproductive hormone. This is the reason why we see so many people struggling with fertility issues and their cycles, because it's running the show somewhere else. The same thing can be said for acetylcholine. When acetylcholine is being used to activate the stress mechanism, or part of the activated stress mechanism, it's not being used in digestion and so forth. And we start to see rigidity, we start to see reduced mobility, even in the gut. So because it's being used predominantly in one area. This doesn't mean you're low in acetylcholine, this just means that it's being used for one thing. Estrogen is the same way. It could be doing, it's being used to activate both the autonomic nervous system as well as the immune system, and therefore you don't have enough to be used for reproduction. Okay, so that said, that combination would help with the metabolism of that stress hormone, kind of reducing the reaction, and as well as acetylcholine, kind of helping the body reappropriate it to a more easy use. Supports the entire hormonal system, supports the production of glutathione, and folate cycle, MTHFR, to name a few things. Another one you could throw in there would be rosewood. That would be another nice one to put in there. Some people have asked me about vanilla. I wouldn't recommend vanilla because vanilla there's a benzoic, I think there's a benzoic acid or there's some acetate in there that is contraindicated with medications. So those would be the ones that I would stick with. That would be aromatic on the table. Roman chamomile, black spruce, sandalwood mysore, and Egyptian geranium, as well as rosewood. And if you have any questions about any of this, please let me know. And consider aromagenomics. I'd love to have you in there because this is, again, it's not just for us, it's for the kids in our lives. And I was asked years ago when it's been about 6 years now, not even that long actually, 4 or 5 years. I was taking some upper division psychology courses, and my professor, we were talking about a lot about epigenetics there. And her question was, what would it be like if we could actually teach our children the amount of control they actually have, influence they have on their epigenome? And so that would be magical because that changes the face of human health. So anyway, there you have it. Let me know what questions you have and consider signing up for Aromagenomics as well as the newsletter. All right, see you guys.